Is there anything more agonizing in professional sports than the silence of a medical report when a championship window is wide open? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we need to have a serious, perhaps even slightly frustrating conversation about the state of our rotation. We are standing on the precipice of the 2026 season, a year where expectations are sky high. Yet we are already dealing with the ghosts of injuries past. The question burning in everyone's mind right now isn't just will we win, but rather, will our ace even be there to throw the first pitch? We are talking, of course, about Shane Bieber. The news coming out of the camp is a classic good news, bad news scenario that is enough to give any Blue Jays fan an ulcer before opening day even arrives. Here is the reality of the situation. Shane Bieber is dealing with fatigue and inflammation in his right forearm. Now, before you hit the panic button, let's look at the nuance here. Reports suggest that the 30-year-old star is absolutely eager to get back on the mound. He wants the ball. He wants the pressure. That is the mindset of a Cy Young winner. However, despite this hunger, despite this palpable excitement to dominate, there is a massive but hanging over the Rogers center. The timeline for his return is completely up in the air. It is a cloud of uncertainty that threatens to overshadow the early weeks of our campaign. According to Arden Zwelling of Sportsnet, Bieber managed to have a heavy throwing day this past Friday. On the surface, that sounds fantastic, right? It implies strength, it implies progress. It's a sign that the structural integrity is there. But then we hear from manager John Schneider, and the tone shifts from optimistic to incredibly cautious. Schneider confirmed the intensity of the session, saying Shane Bieber had a heavy throwing day on Friday. He is anxious to get back. But then came the caveat that stops us in our tracks. There is no date, no circle on the calendar. Schneider added, all the reports are good. We're just going to keep going with the process and keep getting his feedback. This process is a terrifying word for fans who remember how fragile pitching rotations can be. We are looking at a scenario where our marquee acquisition, the man brought in to be the anchor, is likely starting the 2026 season on the injured list. This isn't just a minor hiccup, it's a strategic blow that forces us to rethink the entire structure of our pitching staff for April. The tension between the player's desire to compete and the medical staff's mandate to protect him is the central conflict of our spring, and how this resolves will dictate the tempo of our entire season. To truly understand the weight of this situation, we have to step back and look at the history of the player and the franchise. We aren't just talking about a generic arm here. We are talking about Shane Bieber. This is a man who in 2020 didn't just win the Cy Young Award. He obliterated the competition with a triple crown of pitching, leading the league in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. When the Blue Jays acquired him at the trade deadline last season, it was a statement of intent. It was the front office saying, we are done with being good, we want to be legendary. He was brought in to be the difference maker, the guy who takes the ball in game one of a playoff series and stares down the best hitters on the planet. Think back to the playoffs last year. Bieber was instrumental. He started Game 4, giving us quality innings when our backs were against the wall. Then, in a move that showed his absolute dedication to the team, he came out of the bullpen in Game 7 of the World Series. That kind of versatility and grit is rare. It reminds me of the old-school aces like Roy Halladay, or even looking further back to guys like Jack Morris, who would throw until their arms fell off if it meant getting a ring. But that workload comes with a price. The human arm is not a machine, and the mileage Bieber has accumulated over 9 MLB seasons is significant. Historically, the Blue Jays have had a complicated relationship with ace pitchers and injuries. We have seen seasons derailed because the number one guy went down. Remember the anxiety surrounding Nate Pearson's development? Or the times we held our breath? Every time Aaron Sanchez developed a blister, this situation with Bieber feels eerily similar, yet the stakes are higher because Bieber is a proven commodity, not a prospect. He enters 2026 with a career ERA of 3.24 and a whip of 1.111. He is sitting on 995 strikeouts, just 5 away from the 1,000 milestone. These aren't just numbers, they are a testament to elite consistency. The forearm fatigue diagnosis is particularly tricky in baseball history. Sometimes it's just fatigue, a few weeks of rest, and the pitcher returns stronger than ever. Other times, as we have seen tragically with stars like Steven Strasburg or Jacob deGrom, forearm issues can be the precursor to much more significant structural damage, often leading to Tommy John surgery. I am not saying that is happening here, let's be very clear about that, but the ghost of that possibility is why the front office is treating Bieber like he is made of fine china. They know that rushing him back for a start in early April could cost him his arm for October. It is a high-stakes gamble where patience is the only currency that matters. Now, let's analyze the immediate impact and the ripple effects of this uncertainty. If Shane Bieber starts the season on the IL, which seems almost certain at this point, what does that do to the roster construction? It creates a domino effect that puts immense pressure on the rest of the rotation. Suddenly, your number 2 starter has to pitch like an ace. Your number 5 starter, who might have been fighting for a roster spot, is now guaranteed innings against dangerous lineups. The bullpen, already a volatile element in modern baseball, might be taxed earlier in games if the starters can't go deep. Let's talk about the cap hit and value. Bieber is not a cheap asset. The team has invested heavily in him, both in terms of salary and the prospects traded to get him. When a player of this caliber is sitting on the bench, it's an inefficiency that championship teams struggle to overcome. However, there is a silver lining here. If the Blue Jays can tread water, or even thrive, without him in April and May, imagine the boost of adding a fresh Shane Bieber to the rotation in June or July. It would be like making a blockbuster trade without giving up any assets. It's the internal addition narrative that GMs love to spin. But in this case, it might actually be true. The fan reaction to this news is, predictably, split right down the middle. I've been reading the forums and the comments, and it's a war zone. On one side, you have the doomers, the fans who are already writing off the season. They're saying, here we go again, another broken pitcher, another wasted year. They point to the forearm inflammation as a death knell. And honestly, I understand their trauma. We have been hurt before. But then you have the optimists, the fans who trust the process. They argue that it's better to miss April than October. They see Schneider's caution not as fear, but as wisdom. They believe that preserving Bieber for the stretch run is the only strategy that makes sense. And what about the scenarios moving forward? Scenario A. Bieber rests for 3 weeks, comes back and dominates. The inflammation was just a blip, the rotation stabilizes, and we look back at this video and laugh. Scenario B. The fatigue lingers. He tries to ramp up, feels pain, and gets shut down for months. In that scenario, the pressure shifts entirely to the front office to acquire another arm, potentially overpaying in a panic trade. The chemistry of the clubhouse also comes into play. Players know when their ace is missing. It forces the offense to feel like they need to score 6 or 7 runs a night to compensate, which leads to pressing at the plate. The psychological weight of Bieber's absence is just as heavy as the statistical loss. So, where does this leave us as we stare down the barrel of the 2026 season? We are left in a state of suspended animation. We know Shane Bieber is a warrior. We know he wants to be out there helping this team chase a World Series title. His track record of 995 strikeouts and 2 career shutouts proves he has the tools to dismantle any lineup in the league. But desire alone cannot heal inflammation. The Blue Jays organization is making the difficult, unsexy choice. They are choosing caution over glory in the short term. They are betting that a healthy Bieber in the fall is worth the anxiety of a Bieber-less spring. This is the reality of modern baseball. It is a war of attrition. It is not just about who has the best players on paper, but who can keep those players on the field when the leaves start to turn brown in October. While it is frustrating to hear no timetable, it is also the most honest answer we can get. We don't want false hope. We want a healthy ace. The team is doing the right thing by listening to the body rather than the calendar. Now, I want to hear from you. This is the most important part of the show because you are the heartbeat of this franchise. How are you handling the Shane Bieber news? Are you in the camp that says shut him down until he is 100%? Or do you think the team is being too conservative and needs to get him on the mound ASAP? Does this injury update change your prediction for the Blue Jays' final standing in AL East? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a Real debate going, respectful, passionate, and honest. Don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate these deep dive updates and subscribe so you never miss a breaking story about our Blue Jays. We are in this together through the injuries and the triumphs. Let's hope the next update brings us a date for his return. Until then, keep the faith, stay loud, and let's go Blue Jays.